I never imagined that my own sister would sabotage my dreams. But greed has a way of changing people in ways you could never predict. Let me start from the beginning. I'm Olivia Bennett, 28 years old, and I've always been the responsible one in the family. While my younger sister Lily spent her college years partying and switching majors every semester, I worked 2 jobs to put myself through business school. Our parents always made excuses for her. Lily's just figuring things out, or she's too artistic for a conventional career path. I lived frugally, saved every penny, and made smart investments. By the time I was 26, I finally achieved my dream, buying a small but charming Victorian house in a historic neighborhood. It wasn't flashy, but it was mine. Every creaky floorboard, every couped wall, I loved it all. I spent weekends restoring its original features, learning carpentry from online videos, and slowly turning it into my ideal home. But while I was diligently building my life brick by brick, Lily was constructing an illusion. She'd somehow landed a job at an elite marketing agency, thanks to Dad's old golfing buddy, and started dating Zachary Monroe, a wealthy real estate mogul's son. Suddenly, she was all about appearances, designer outfits, leased luxury cars, and a constant stream of Instagram posts showcasing her perfect life. Then came the engagement. Zach proposed with a ring worth more than my entire annual salary, and Lily quickly morphed from high maintenance to full-blown bridezilla. That's when my nightmare truly began. It started with a family dinner at our parents' house. Mom had made her famous lasagna, and the table was set with a fine china, a clear sign something major was on the horizon. "Olivia, sweetie," Lily began, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. "You know my wedding needs to be nothing short of extraordinary. Zach's family expects nothing less than perfection." I nodded cautiously, chewing on some garlic bread. I had already agreed to be her maid of honor despite her demanding nature. "Well, I found the perfect venue, the Somerset Manor. It's this breathtaking historic estate with lush gardens, and they only book a few weddings a year." Her eyes glittered with excitement. "The only problem is, it's a little pricey. $100,000 just for the venue." I nearly choked on my bread. $100,000? Just for the venue? "Don't be so small-minded, Olivia," Lily rolled her eyes. "This is my once-in-a-lifetime event. And that's why." She paused dramatically. "I need you to sell your house." The room fell silent. Even the crickets outside seemed to hold their breath. "Excuse me?" I must have misheard her. "Your house," she repeated, speaking slowly as if to a child. "You can sell it and rent a place. That old thing needs so much work anyway. And this way, you can contribute to my perfect day. Zach's family is being so generous, and it's embarrassing that our side can't match that." I glanced at our parents, expecting them to shut down this ridiculous request. But to my surprise, Mom was nodding eagerly. "Honey, Lily has a point," Mom chimed in. "That house is too much work for a single woman. And you want your sister to have her dream wedding, right?" Dad kept his eyes on his lasagna, avoiding any form of eye contact. "You've got to be kidding me," I said, putting my fork down. "You want me to sell my home, the one I spent years working to buy, the one I've poured my soul into renovating, just for one day? It's not just a party." Lily slammed her hand on the table, making a wine glasses rattle. "It's my doing. And as my sister, you have to help. Everyone knows you're doing well with your side businesses or whatever you do on that laptop all day. If only they knew, those side businesses were my real estate investment firm. While they thought I was just a mid-level accountant, I had quietly been building a portfolio of commercial properties. The irony of this situation was almost laughable, if it weren't so maddening. "No," I said firmly, standing up. "Absolutely not. I'm happy to help with the wedding, but I will not sell my house." Lily's face flushed crimson. "You selfish monster. You've always been jealous of me, just because you can't find a man and live in that ugly old house." "That's enough," I interrupted, gathering my things. "I'm leaving. And Lily, find yourself another maid of honor." As I walked to my car, I could hear Lily's dramatic sobs and Mom trying to comfort her. Dad hurried after me. "Princess," he said, using my childhood nickname. "You know how Lily is. Just think about it, okay? Maybe you could take out a loan or something." I stared at him in disbelief. "Dad, are you hearing yourself? You want me to go into debt for Lily's wedding venue?" He shifted uncomfortably. "We just want to keep the peace. And well, Zach's family is very influential. This wedding could open doors for all of us. That's when I realized my family would never change. They'd always prioritize Lily's desires over everyone else's needs. But they had no idea who they were dealing with. "Don't worry about the venue, Dad," I said, a plan forming in my mind. "I'll take care of it." He looked relieved, probably thinking I'd given in. But I had something else in mind entirely. 3 months ago, I had purchased a historic estate through my investment firm. A stunning old mansion that had been on the market for months, priced well below its value because the previous owners needed to sell quickly. I had been quietly renovating it, planning to turn it into a high-end event venue. The name of that estate, the Somerset Manor. What happened next would teach my sister and parents a lesson they would never forget. But that's when the real story began. The weeks that followed were a whirlwind. Lily continued to bombard me with texts, sending guilt trip after guilt trip, alternating with thinly veiled threats. Mom called daily with new ideas for how I could help with the wedding, from taking out a second mortgage to selling my car. I let them think I was considering their demands while working on my plan in silence. Somerset Manor had been my biggest investment yet. When I first saw it listed, I knew it was a gem. Built in 1885, it still had all its original charm: sweeping staircases, intricate moldings, crystal chandeliers, and 12 acres of immaculately maintained grounds. The elderly couple who owned it had kept it in pristine condition, but needed to sell quickly due to health issues. I had spent months making subtle updates, adding modern amenities while preserving its historic beauty. My event management company, Bennett Events, registered under my middle name for privacy, had just begun booking events, and the estate was already becoming the most exclusive venue in the area. What Lily didn't know was that she'd booked her wedding at my estate. She had been communicating with my event manager, Chloe, who knew exactly who Lily was but played the role of an accommodating professional flawlessly. The day of the venue tour arrived. I made sure to arrive early, parking my modest car at the back. Through the security cameras, I watched as Lily's sleek black SUV pulled up to the gates, followed by her parents' car and several other luxury vehicles. I sat in a grand office of the estate, watching the security feed as Chloe greeted them in the marble lobby. Lily was practically bursting with excitement, pointing out every glimmering chandelier and gilded molding to Zach's mother, who looked appropriately impressed. "The owner is very selective about the events we host," I heard Chloe explain through the security feed. "We only do about 12 weddings a year." "Well, we're prepared to pay whatever it takes," Zachary's father announced proudly. "The Monroe name deserves nothing but the best." I smiled, adjusting my blazer and checking my name tag. Olivia Bennett, owner and CEO. It was time for my entrance. I descended the grand staircase just as Chloe was guiding the group into the main ballroom. The look on Lily's face when she saw me was priceless: confusion, followed by recognition, then pure horror. "Olivia," she squeaked, "what are you doing here?" "Welcome to Somerset Manor," I said coolly, extending my hand to Zachary's parents. "I'm Olivia Bennett, the owner. I believe you've already met my event manager, Chloe." The silence was deafening. Lily's mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. Mom clutched Dad's arm for support. Zachary's parents seemed confused but impressed. They were old money enough to appreciate young entrepreneurial success. "You?" Lily finally shrieked, her composure falling apart. "You own TIS. But you live in that tiny house. You drive a Toyota." "A good businesswoman knows the value of living below her means," I replied calmly. "Now about your booking, I'm afraid we'll have to decline." "What?" Lily's face turned a dangerous shade of red again. "You can't do that. We've already told everyone. Zachary's family's reputation." "Actually, I can," I interrupted smoothly. "You see, when you submitted your booking request, you signed our standard terms and conditions. Section 3.2 clearly states that we reserve the right to refuse service to anyone who creates a hostile environment for our staff or ownership." I pulled out a folder containing printouts of every nasty text and email she had sent me over the past few weeks. These certainly qualify. Mom stepped forward, trying to salvage the situation. "Sweetheart, let's be reasonable. We're family." "Funny," I cut in. "That's not what you said when you were pressuring me to sell my house for this venue." "Family goes both ways, Mom." Zachary's father cleared his throat. "Olivia, was it? Perhaps we could discuss this privately. Name your price. I smiled politely. Mr. Monroe, your son seems like a wonderful person, and I wish him all the best. But this isn't about money. It's about respect, boundaries, and consequences. That's when Lily pulled out her trump card, tears. Not her usual theatrical sobs, but quiet, seemingly sincere tears. Olivia, please, she whispered. This is my dream venue. I've already told everyone. I'll be humiliated. For a fleeting moment, I felt a pang of guilt. Then I remembered all the times she had humiliated me, belittled my accomplishments, and tried to force me to sacrifice my own dreams for hers. Dreams are curious things, I said softly but firmly. Some people believe they're entitled to them, while others work tirelessly to turn them into reality. I'm sorry, but my decision is final. What happened next was chaos. Lily had a complete meltdown, screaming about how I had ruined her life. Mom tried to guilt-trip me, while Dad looked like he wanted the earth to swallow him up. But Zachary's parents had a different response. Impressive. Zachary's mother said, eyeing me with new respect. You built all of this yourself? Yes, ma'am. I replied. I started my company 5 years ago using the savings I made working 2 jobs through college. Now that's the kind of ambition we value in the Monroe family. Zachary's father nodded approvingly. He turned to Lily, who was still sobbing dramatically. Perhaps, dear, this is a sign that you should reconsider your approach to, well, everything. The look on Lily's face was priceless. Her future in-laws were clearly more impressed with my business acumen than with her tantrum. As they filed out, with Chloe escorting them to their cars, Dad lingered behind. Princess, he said quietly, I owe you an apology. I should have stood up for you. Yes, you should have. I agreed. But it's not too late to start. He nodded, finally understanding the unspoken message. It was time for him and Mom to stop enabling Lily's behavior. The aftermath was interesting. Lily eventually found another venue, one that was far less prestigious and significantly more expensive. She still isn't speaking to me, which honestly is rather peaceful. Mom is trying to mend our relationship, starting with finally acknowledging that my side businesses were, in fact, impressive accomplishments. Somerset Manor has now become the most sought-after wedding venue in 3 states. I still live in my beloved Victorian house, though I've hired professionals to finish the renovations. My Toyota runs just fine, thank you very much. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I had caved to Lily's demands. Would she have learned anything? Would anything have changed? Probably not. Instead, I taught my family 3 valuable lessons. Success doesn't need to be flashy to be real. Respect is earned, not demanded. Never underestimate the quiet one who works hard and minds their own business. Last week, I received a wedding invitation from Zachary's sister. She'd specifically requested Somerset Manor as her venue. I personally approved her booking. After all, good business is about knowing when to say yes, as much as knowing when to say no. As for Lily, last I heard, she's finding herself again, this time through yoga teacher training. Zachary's parents insisted on a prenup, and apparently, living within an actual budget has been quite an adjustment for her. Me? I'm expanding Somerset Manor's events business, scouting properties in other states, and enjoying the peace and quiet of my dumpy little house that I worked so hard to own. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about standing your ground and letting karma do the rest.